Hey guys, how's it going? Firebox here. I want to share with you a brand new PvPvE extraction game called Legacy Steel and Sorcery that is coming out of alpha testing for early access this February 12th. I have personally been keeping an eye on this game for a while now, and I feel like the improvements that have been made are pretty significant and probably worth making a video on. I'm here to share with you what the game currently looks like so you can make an informed decision on whether you want to buy this game or not. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. There's going to be a lot of information in this video, so feel free to skip around in the timestamp down below if you like. Now, after selecting your character, that's going to be Warrior, Rogue, Priest, and Hunter, you're going to be sent here to this main menu screen where you're going to have a few different tabs to look through. You're going to have your Adventure tab where you can select which map you want to play. There are two maps currently in the game. Greenwood, which is going to be your main map that you play, and Goldbrook, which is going to be the tutorial map where you can learn how to play the game that I am going to go over later in this video. Then you have your main city tab, which is where the merchants are located. You have the alchemist, who of course sells potions, antidotes, things like that. And you also unlock crafting. Is a really big part of this game is finding your own resources in game and crafting things that you can use, because there is no player market trading. So everything that you do it for yourself. This is a very big difference if you're coming from something like Dark and Darker, where most things are player traded. And that's kind of where you get everything that you're going to use for the dungeons. Every merchant has an affinity level that you're going to level up through things like questing, crafting, and I think there are different items in the world that you can collect that will also increase your affinity, which is going to make the crafting tab a lot bigger and allow you to craft more endgame items. You're going to have an armor, of course, that can craft different types of armor. Mining is also a big part of this game. You can go for ores that you can craft your own gear with, which I think is pretty cool. And then some merchants do have an upgrade tab, which you can use to give your gear better stats of the same rarity. Your enchantress is going to be for enchanting items. You can find gems in the world and then use those to socket different equipment. I don't have any gear that can be socketed right now, but that's what this is going to be used for. And then you have a disenchanting system where you can take unused or unwanted gear, grind it up for stuff that you want to use. For example, I can take this mole, I can disenchant it for a copper bar. So say I'm playing Rogue and I don't want this mace, I can just grind it up and I can use that for another class. The tailor is going to be for crafting things such as bandages and backpacks for bigger inventory, so you can leave with more when you're venturing out into the world. This is going to be extremely important, and again, the more you upgrade your merchant's affinity, the better backpacks and other things you can craft. So yeah, leveling up merchants in this game is going to be extremely important. The Tavern Maid is going to be where you can buy wood and food so you can cook your own meals. These are going to give you buffs in the games that you play. It's kind of a whole different system called the Lodge, and I'll show that off in a little bit here. But she is specifically just for crafting and buying different ingredients that you can use for yourself for the cooking system. You're going to have the Treasurer, who is kind of the gambler. You can buy random chests that can give you armor, weapons, things like that. There is a bartering system for crafting recipes. I don't have it unlocked yet. I'm assuming he either needs a higher affinity or it's something that's not in the game yet. I'm going to assume it's a higher affinity because it's here, but I just don't know for sure. And then you have the weaponsmith, just like the armor smith, same difference. You can craft and buy weapons and also upgrade them to give them better stats. Next, I want to show you the questing tab. There's going to be two main things here to be looking at. The first is the campaign tab that is going to specifically try to lead you into teaching you how to play the game. This could include things such as learning how to upgrade your storage space, cooking food, crafting, anything like that. Then you have the questing board. This is going to be your daily quests that you can do just to earn additional merchant affinity, get rewards, things like that. So it's going to be small things, collecting red mushrooms, collecting field lilies, collecting ogre tusk, defeating players. It's really just random things. So the campaign is more structured, whereas the questing board is going to be something that you kind of just look at throughout the day. I want to say it's a 4-hour cooldown period. So, while you're playing, be sure to check this periodically. And then we have the lodge. This is a pretty cool system. So you have the fireplace here, and you add wood to activate it. So I'll go ahead and just do it now to show you. Over on the left-hand side, we have the cooking pot, which is used to craft meals that can be used to give you buffs for your next adventure. For example, we have brimstone cheddar. So we use this, drag it over. It shows that we get 5 max stamina, and it's going to last for 2 adventures. And because our fireplace is currently active, we're allowed to cook. If the fireplace is off, you cannot cook. It's pretty self-explanatory. You need fire in order to make a meal. So you drag it over here, you hit cook meal, and now, voila, we have an active meal for our next 2 adventures. And you can also do upgrades for most of the tabs over here. So if we want to be able to add more ingredients to our cooking, then we have to find different items. This is a really big thing. A lot of items and things in this game require a lot of different resources. So this is definitely going to be a pretty big grinding game if that's something that you're into. You have the bed system that's going to be a rested experience bonus. You might be familiar with this because I think it's from World of Warcraft. But basically, it's going to be a way for you to gain experience while you're offline. So you can try to keep up with other players a little bit as far as XP go. I don't mind this system. I haven't messed with it too much, but I appreciate the effort the devs are trying to give at letting you get some XP for your character while you're not playing. So hopefully you can try to catch up and not be too far behind. You have your storage chest, which is going to be the storage in your tab. This is how you increase the amount of space that you have available. This is a really big thing because you're going to be collecting a lot of resources while you're playing. This is a very important tab to keep an eye on. You want to try to get this upgraded probably as fast as possible from my limited experience testing out the game so far. You have a crafting bench that you can use to craft different items, recipes. From here, I know at least Warrior, for example, you have these war horns that you use to gain rage that are extremely good. So I've been using these, collecting copper bars and wolf fangs in order to help me in PvP fights. And there's way more stuff you can craft, but I haven't personally upgraded it past level 1. I don't know everything that you're going to be able to unlock later on. You have the ossuary, which I haven't really gotten to try yet. I don't know exactly what it does, but it's here, so, we'll see. I'll probably find out once the game releases and I get it upgraded. It says that it improves reputation for merchants, so maybe it's something with treasures, giving it up and something increases. We'll see. And there is a critter habitat down here at the bottom. I do not know what this is. It's not in the game yet, so stay tuned. We'll have to see what that does. Now I want to show you where you're going to keep your loot. If you press tab, you're going to go to your stash tab over on the right hand side. You'll see we have 3 separate tabs available. Remember, in the lodge, you can upgrade and get more spaces that you can put loot in. For now, we're only at 3. This is kind of where we keep all of our stuff that we're going to be using for crafting, questing, things like that. If you look here in the middle, you're going to see 2 separate bags. This is going to be your main bag that is used to store items. If you die, you lose that gear. And then you have your soul pouch. This is going to be used to store items where if you die, you do not lose your stuff. So it's pretty useful, especially for early game when you're learning how to play. Put the valuable stuff down here, and you're going to just progress a little bit faster. And of course, we can equip our character with gear that we find. And then you can go to the status tab, the stats, and you can look at the different stats that your character has. I don't know much about this yet. There's different resistance tabs, defense, weapon damage, health. Pretty basic stuff, but I haven't looked into this too much yet. For your skills, there's something important that you need to be aware of, and that's that there are 2 separate types of skills. One is for your character, one is for the weapons. So for example, this quake here that slams the ground, dealing physical damage and slowing enemies. This is only usable if you have a mace and shield active. So it is not based on the character. You have to have that weapon currently in your hands to use. And that goes with other weapons as well that have different abilities. Then every character is going to have 3 separate character abilities that they can use. For example, the warrior has Iron Grip to pull enemies towards them and stun. They have a few selections for Fury, Rampage, Battle Frenzy, Raging Shout, usually giving you Unstoppable, which allows you to attack without being staggered. Staggering in PvP can be a pretty big deal, so it's pretty nice. And then you have engagement for charge, heroic leap as a way to engage and try to close the gap on enemy players. I don't want to go too in-depth on these because this video would be way too long. Just know that every class is going to have weapon skills and 3 separate tabs. And hopefully, as the time goes on, we'll have more options here, for the different types of skills. The trait tab is going to be this game's skill tree that every character has. It's kind of limited right now, but it is different for every class at the very least. And it's going to change gameplay quite a good bit. So as you level up, make sure to head to your traits and select what you want to use. For example, Warrior has advanced guarding, so you can sprint while blocking. They have anchored chain to tether people to the ground after they grab them. Some are more simple, like just simple max health bonus, headshot damage reduction, and then some are just a little bit more impactful. So keep an eye on this for every character, because you're definitely going to want to use them for your game. And there is a customized tab, but we don't have cosmetics yet. So at some point, I'm sure they will add cosmetics to the game. You can do that. Once you're in the game, you're going to see 2 things. You're going to see a compass at the top of the screen. And if you press M, you're going to see some information given to you, such as the map timer. You'll see here we have 29 minutes before we have to extract. And our goal is going to be to get to this area here. When you're on the main map, it's going to look bigger, but you are still going to have, named locations that have good loot, different types of mobs, and then an extraction point that you're mainly going for to leave. And you'll see here, we're 527 meters away. So the game will direct you a little bit while you're playing. You'll see on the left-hand side, different pop-ups are going to come. So it's going to tell you sprint to increase your speed. Sheathing your weapon will not consume stamina. So, yep, if you pull out your weapon, it automatically pulls out when you press attack, by the way. You swing, and if you want to start running, you are going to drain stamina, which you'll see on the left-hand side. If you press X, you sheath your weapon, like it said, and you will no longer use stamina, which is very, very useful for running away from players, just running around the map, because if you try to run with your weapon out at all times, it is going to take you an absurdly long time, because you're going to have to sit there and wait for stamina. Also, as Warrior, you have 2 different weapons that you can swap between. I have rebound it myself. It depends on what setting you have it for. I have it for my middle mouse button for ease of use. But you can swap between the 2 different from combat. They have different uses too. Because weapons are tied to different skills, your mace and shield is going to do a ground slam that hurts enemies. But if you swap to your double axe, or your 2-handed axe, you have a Q spin that kind of does a spin. And as you're playing, you are going to find treasure chests with loot in it. So great, we found a green mace. We can go ahead and equip that and drop our old one because we don't need that anymore. Now, something nice about this game is specifically every weapon is going to have different abilities. Sorry if my camera is blocking this. It says that your quake reverberates after a short duration, dealing additional damage. So this means that when I use my mace Q now, you're going to see a second thing pop up that will also deal damage to enemies nearby. And a lot of the weapons in this game, whites, greens, blues, purples, legendaries, all of them have special text added that makes them feel unique to each other. So even a white weapon versus a green will have some kind of use. Of course, green, blue, purple is going to be better than the previous rarities, but I do really like that the weapon feels unique and it's not just stats. So I do like that personally. Now, let's go ahead and use our map and start heading towards the extraction and kind of just get an idea of what we're doing. Of course, you can mantle over objects, press space. If you're close enough to them, your character should automatically mantle, which is kind of nice. Explore and learn. At the top of your screen, there's a green icon. That's your extraction, which allows you to leave the map and end the session. Of course, so I already mentioned that. And let's go ahead and show off a little bit of the mobs. I want to show you what combat looks like. Also, keep in mind, you have 3 different skills that I kind of talked about earlier. We have our 1, 2, and 3 bound. And if I can find a mob, I will show you exactly what it looks like when you're trying to use them against players. Perfect, skeleton. Okay, So you can press left control to dodge. This is pretty important for mob attack or anything else. You can also block. You'll see there's a little bit of a arch above you. This is going to be how many times you can block before your character, I think, gets stunned. You can also dodge out of attacks, and the green is going to give you an iframe. I'm bad, so I got hit. But you can see if I do dodge here, let me see if I can do this. All right, so he's going to swing. If I dodge correctly, he should not be hitting me. And even if he did hit me during the green, I still should not take damage. Now, I do have different skills here. I have 1, 2, and 3. It's going to take me a little bit of time. Warrior gains rage by attacking. So we have 1, which is our ball and chain. It grabs enemies towards you and stuns them. We're going to have our 3, which is the charge. Alright, I know it takes a little bit of time for me to show you these skills, just because of... You know what? I know what we can do. Let's kill this. Whatever. And I'll just show you outside of the mobs. So if we press 3, it allows us to do the charge towards enemies. If you hit something with that, they are going to be stunned, which is quite useful. And then the 2, which I guess I can't... I was going to tab the show, but I guess I can't do that. The 2 is what is going to cause the unstoppable to go. And you're going to turn blue. You'll just attack on your own. You can't really control it. But you're going to be unstaggerable, which means that as you swing, people cannot hit you and, you know, basically cause you to stumble, which is a pretty big deal. Now I want to head towards the extract and show you what it looks like when you are leaving the map. Something to keep in mind is enemy mobs can also turn blue and red while they're attacking you. The blue is going to mean that they're unstaggerable, just like you. So if you try to hit them, they're not going to get knocked back at all. They're going to just keep swinging, so you're going to take damage. And if they turn red, it means that you cannot physically block them. So I don't know if the goblins will show that or not, but I can go in and just kind of show you what it looks like when you're fighting these guys. So generally speaking, I've noticed most mobs can be stunned when you hit them. Hopefully I don't die in the tutorial. I would feel very, very silly. But yeah, it's pretty simple combat. It's nothing too crazy. At least as far as the, you know, low tier mobs go. Block, swing, stun lock. You know, you press your Q to do the ground slam. Ground slam really does pretty decent damage. Don't forget, you can always swap between your weapons to attack. And I think this chest has healing. Let me grab that real quick. Just so I don't die here. Perfect. Oh my god, we're actually gonna die in the tutorial. That's crazy. Okay. I think we're okay. That'll heal us a little bit. Okay. Let me head towards the exit so I can show you what it looks like when you're leaving. So keep in mind, when you open your map, you're going to use that to lead towards the extraction point. And then when you do hit the main gate area, you're going to get a timer. And this is a period of time that, I don't know if I like it too much, but people can fight / kill you in here. I personally haven't noticed anyone do that to me yet, but similar to Tarkov, there might be extraction campers. I'm a little worried about that, but I guess we'll see how that goes. That's going to be everything I wanted to share for Legacy, Steel, and Sorcery. If you want to see more gameplay, I will be live on the 12th. You can feel free to check me out on Twitch. Leave a description down below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe if you enjoyed the video, helps the channel. And leave a comment below what your thoughts are of this game. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you guys next time. Yep.